It's really fantastic working as a team for many reasons, but one of them being how much you pick up subconsciously. And I always look at property, and actually when I first met Mark and Adam, when Toby and I first met them, I talked about, and I still refer to this, that a lot of what I thought I knew or that I did know about property was picked up in the back of the car because I was the youngest of three. And it was stuff that I picked up from mum and dad and their, I guess, endeavours over the years and renovation projects and whatever it was they were involved in. And, I guess there was a gap there at some point where that wasn't really taught to me from, in my 20s. And Toby and I both being involved in this business as co-directors and having the support of Mark and Adam and, being mentored by them day in, day out, I look at the influence that can have on Lonnie and our future children and my stepson Frankie, and the abilities that may, or opportunities that may allow them to have from a really young age, not just to leverage what might be mum and dad's portfolio, but what can they do at 16 and 18 and 20 and 22 that maybe Toby and I were looking at doing in our 30s, and what the impact that can have on the long-term success, financial stability, and living a life of choice. But it's not just through Toby and I as well. I see that Lonnie and any of our children will gain so much even from our team and the environment that they're going to be around, I hope for the rest of our lives and theirs.
Yeah, so it's quite a few things you've unpacked in there, and you talk about being in the back of the car and just listening to mum and dad have conversations and the like, to then coming on board with over and above and feel like you're being mentored and stuff. So what are a couple of the nuggets you can sort of share that are relatable for people that may not even realise that they're in the same situation you may have been, and have a real passion for property investing and stuff? Like, what would you say is probably one or two key points that really help propel you forward?
Yeah, it's interesting. So I made a decision in my 20s to save up a lot of money and actually move overseas. So in hindsight, whilst I certainly don't regret that experience, but in hindsight, I do wish that I had invested first and travelled second, because what I've learned over time is that I could have had it all. Not to say I don't, but I could have had it all back then as well, as opposed to, blowing that cash, living a great life in New York City and coming back and realising, okay, now it's time to knuckle down. And, as much as I learnt from my parents, there was always a little bit of that I could lean on them when the time was right. And what I would do differently there, and what I want to do differently for Lonnie, is empower her to do it herself and not just rely on mum and dad to pull you through. I think with that, I pick up so many gold nuggets from you every day. And, we've been working together now for a couple of years, and I hear you in things that I say. So I really just think those golden nuggets are going to be passed on to my children as well, and whether that's from a lending perspective, whether that's something as simple as going interest only on your investments, or something, broader with regards to strategy, or, the myriad of projects that you've done and how to not get them wrong. You stop taking risks on these kinds of things that are the biggest investments of your life. So they're countless, and I could write a book.
Yeah, so it's empowering, it's empowering awareness, understanding these things. So thanks for sharing.